think it just started another one. Let's see. Let's see. This will be part 2. We're back.
We're back.
All right, let me double check. We're in the middle of showing the property here. Let's go back to the front since we're on a new video.
That's weird. I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it. Oh, maybe I need to click over here. Here we go. All right. So this one's our military house.
Okay.
It's on a cul-de-sac, 322, brick construction. And can you set me up here? Now the finish on this house is a little bit lower quality than what we would do, but it was rent ready. And what you'll find is that people talk about 2 different levels of rehab. There's a flip level rehab, which is like to the nines, high as you can go generally. You know, putting stainless steel appliances, you're putting granite, you know, you might
recessed lighting,
some fancy upgrades, maybe fancy tile work,
upgraded blinds.
You know, everything in that regard. This is more of a rent-ready rehab, so it doesn't have the fancy tile surround. This is not the fanciest tile here, but is it serviceable from a renter standpoint? Yes. And when you're thinking as a renter or owning rental property, the phrase that you want to be thinking about is it clean and is it functional? As long as you hit those 2 items, you'll be able to find a tenant that will be happy with your home, take care of your home, and you know, be able to take good care of it. So we bought it in this condition. Like, it doesn't have a fan in the bedroom. Now we put fans in all the rooms. These closet doors are like the old 1980s style closet doors. But are they serviceable, clean and functional? Clean and functional? Yes, they are. So this is how we bought it. I think we rented it for $1,250, $1,200, something like that.
I don't even know.
It was a little while back.
Excuse me. Oh.
That weekend wore you out?
Kids wear me out.
So this is the living room, just standard tile here.
And if we had done it, we would have done upgraded tile in a brick format. I don't like the tile where it's all just like uniformed and lined up. It's it's a pet peeve. It annoys me.
I didn't like this half wall here, but does it make sense to
remove
it down and retile? No. So we just left it the way it was. I mean, pretty serviceable.
Yeah.
From a renting standpoint, this is the fanciest thing in the whole place right here. Had a nice picture here. Little
alcove,
normal living, and then the garage. I think it was more of a 1-car garage.
Like maybe like a 1.5. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you couldn't fit 2 cars in there. I think it's a 1-car garage.
Let me see if I can switch back. All right, back. So we bought it sub 2. We took over a loan that was $69,000, a little bit over $69,000. We had an additional second loan of $15,000 that we made 3 payments of $5,000 each. So we got kind of creative with the financing. Okay, we bought ourselves some time to come up with the $15,000. Now keep in mind when it comes to like the owner financing component, which we negotiated with the owners in this case for that second loan, you can come up with whatever terms you want. Now, once we rented the property, our cash flow was $458.30.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
on one house, that's amazing.
Property, that's awesome cash flow. So the reason that's great is because if you consider our amount of money that we put into the deal, and then you consider our yearly cash flows, our cash on cash return actually came out to 37%, which that's like baller. When you're doing your cash on cash projections, you basically want to be anything over 20%. In this case, we were over 35%. So basically, if we just cash flow this property the way it was, assuming no vacancy and everything was the same, we would get our $15,000 back in 3 years, and then any time after 3 years, if we kept the property after that, it would be pure profit. Pure profit. So in 3 years, we get our $15,000 back that we put into it. Then after that, pure profit. Just an asset that's bringing in $450 every single month. That's how rich people get rich. Is they put money into something, that something eventually pays off their investment back, and then from then on, it's bringing in a paycheck every single month. That's what you need to be doing. If you're not already doing that, you need to be getting on to some cash flow, getting cash flow. But with this one, we're in the early stages of our venture, in the early stages of our Romero roadmap.
Yep.
You're yawning. You're gonna make me yawn over here.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm so like sleepy today. Even though it's I love Mondays because it's the one day we get to work without the baby in the office, so we can get a lot done.
Yeah,
I always look forward. I always look forward to our team meeting in the morning, kind of like a hurrah for the week, and then I always look forward to our Romero roadmap videos each Monday.
I can tell you're very excited about it. So
that's a nice tie. Who got that for you?
I picked it out. I liked it a lot.
He did not. I picked it out.
Why do you like it so much?
I don't know, polka dots. It looks good.
That's a nice sweater. Who picked that out for you?
Probably you. It's like my grandma's sweater. It was cold today in the office, so I'm like freezing.
You looking like grandma today?
Yeah. Well, for warmth, whatever. Be comfortable.
Really quick before we move on, wasn't the weather really weird this weekend?
It was. It was really okay. So on our drive up to Granbury, it was really nice, kind of cool but nice. Actually, it got hot at one point, and then on Saturday when we woke up, it was like terrible. It was freezing. It was gray. It was rainy. Like I did not prepare as a mother. I felt like a bad mother. I did not prepare these kids very good because I didn't bring like pants for the baby. Elia didn't really have many warm clothes. She only had a pair of like jellies, sandals.
We wrapped him up like a mummy at one point.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, and then we went to bed, and then on Sunday it was pretty again, cold but pretty. I like cold weather as long as it's pretty outside.
I agree. As long as it's not too cold.
As long as you prepare.
Right. Okay, so we got this property. We're cash flowing, $458 a month. Everything's looking great. The construction's good, so there aren't any rehab items. The tenants decide not to extend. They have to move.
They bought a house.
Oh, they bought a house. Okay. They bought a house and they had to go. All right, cool. What do we do at this point? Well, we're in the early stages of this real estate investing thing. And what we have realized is, when we first started out with investing, you think, hey, I'm going to buy this property, then you keep it, and then you buy another one, then you keep it, and then you keep them all forever. Well, the reality is you kind of need to sell some from time to time just to keep the ship moving ahead. Being an investor, there's all kinds of expenses that come up out of nowhere. There's things that happen, income that doesn't come in as quickly as you're anticipating.
Taxes every year, man.
Taxes get you. If not the taxes, the CPA bill is going to get you. I mean, we pay over $10,000 just for our CPA bill every single year.
That's assuming we pay nothing in tax, but to the IRS.
That's just
to help us with our filing taxes.
I mean, they do a great job, but they're expensive. In either case, you got to sell some properties here and there to kind of put some money in the bank, put money in the pocket, so that you can kind of keep the whole thing moving ahead. So this was one of the properties we ended up selling. So overall, our portfolio has been growing, but every so often we have to sell some properties. We're actually selling 2 this month.
We sold one on Friday.
Yeah.
Actually, we closed on Thursday, funded Friday, so that was nice. I was kind of ready to be done with that one.
So the game plan is try and keep things as long as you can. And then, sell them if you have to, but whatever you acquire, try and keep them as long as you can. So in this case, we actually owned this property for 14 months. So the tenant moved out. We said, okay, hey, let's do some minor repairs. We did some touch-up paint.
Like the ceiling fans we put in the rooms that didn't have ceiling fans.
Yeah, we put ceiling fans. Did we replace carpet? I think we might have.
I think we replaced carpet and we serviced the AC. I know that one we did.
So we did just basic stuff. Nothing major, nothing over the top, and honestly, it's kind of low end for what we normally do. But this was kind of the unique thing about this area. This is 2016 to 2017. In that area, that's a lot of great built properties in the 80s and 90s that were solid brick properties, slab foundation. But they didn't really get the appreciation as much as some of the other areas of the market. When we bought the property, we were doing our calculations of a 115, 120 ARV, which is how we came up with the offer price we gave to my parents to purchase it. Mm-hmm. But over the course of that year, there had been a lot of appreciation, and now we were starting to see valuations of 130, 135 on the high end. So what we did is we listed it even higher than that. I think we listed it like 137 or something. And we eventually got a buyer for 136,500.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was a pretty smooth transaction. I don't remember any hurdles or anything, right?
Well, with the agent.
Which one? Oh, is this
Remember,
the one with the story?
I've dealt with a lot of bad agents.
Oh, dang, do I need to sit back for this?
Well, this one, I don't remember the specifics. I just remember this agent was so annoying.
So whoever lists our home, by the way, she's the one that lists all of our properties for sale because you're
and for rent, which I hate the rentals. I'd rather do the selling. Obviously, work with like more qualified people because when you're renting, sometimes you just get like crappy tenants. But
hey, it's Dan Diggy Dan. Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're in here, bud.
Well, anyway,
you're watching.
This agent that I was working with, I just remember we were like kind of going back and forth, and we found a good negotiation, or we negotiated, and everything was good, and we were moving forward. But like the new buyers were like moving in town like a couple days early, and they wanted to move in before we closed and funded, and I said sorry, no. She's like, well, they got here early, and I'm like, and you haven't paid, and you haven't signed anything. You think I'm going to let your people move in, and then something happens, and now I have to freaking evict your buyers? No. So I said no, and she was really unpleasant. Oh, she was also the one that got her husband to call and bitch out the title company.
Oh, that's right.
For some reason, and I can't remember why. Do you remember why?
I don't remember why.
Something about like we were ready to close and some issue, and I was just like.
Not like the Romero roadmap over here.
No, like I don't know even if it was the buyer. I think it was the agent and her husband. Yeah. That's what she was just like, I don't know, she was unhappy about something, so she had her husband call the title company and like bitch them out, and
you just for some reason attract all these crazy, mean, upset people. What do you set these people off? Like
no.
What do you do?
No. I just have I have unlucky. Actually, I've had good ones lately. The two, like I mentioned, like was it last week or the week before? The two that we were closing on. The one we closed on Friday. He was a really nice agent. Now his buyer was crazy, but like he was nice. And then the one we're about to close this week, she's been really pleasant to work with. But this lady for this property was just like crazy, and I was like, sorry. And she's like, well, what am I supposed to do? They're here and they've got dogs. I don't know. Figure it out. Pay out of your commission to go put him in a hotel.
Don't let people move into your house prior to closing and funding.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want that to happen.
I was like, if you want to pay me like $2,000 to move in early, sure, but.
So at this point, we sell it after you take out all the closing costs, the commissions, our money that we put into fixing it, all those different things. We walked away with $38,053.09, because the other thing that you have to keep in mind is during that year, since this property the loan that was on this property had been instated for a while, there was actually some principal pay down, a pretty good amount. It went from $69,200 to $66,900. So that was a pretty big pay down in just 1 year that you don't see when you originally originate a loan. So that's kind of a cool thing. So that one was pretty good payday.
Yeah, it was nice.
What was going on like at this time? Do you remember? Like we were trying to.
Do you remember what month it was that we sold?
We sold it October 2016.
Shit,
that was 2017.
I was gonna say that was so long ago.
We bought it in August of 2016, so we owned it for 14 months. Which, little known fact, some people know this.
I don't even know.
Capital gains. Capital gains is a pretty hefty tax that you have to pay when you sell something. If you buy a property that you own and you live in it as your homestead, you're living in the property. If you live in it for 2 years or longer, when you sell it, you don't pay any capital gains on it. That is a very common strategy for people. They'll buy a property, live in it for 2 years, and then sell it, and then go and buy another property. It's like how they flip properties without paying tax. So that's one strategy.
I don't got time for that.
No, we don't got time.
Moving every 2 years and
but
fixing it
up.
up.
She has like color-coded tape.
She
puts on her headphones and she dances around and she puts things in the boxes.
That's not
those little twirls.
I do have color-coded tape and a whole system in place, but I don't dance around like
She definitely dances.
I'll put on music and drink some beer.
And dances. She dances.
I don't dance.
You totally dance. Anyway, so that's one way. Another thing is with capital gains. If you hold it longer than a year, then your capital gains tax is only, I think it's just 15% and it stays that. So if you own a property for a year, then after that your capital gains tax stays a uniform amount rather than can be a higher amount based on your income rate, those types of things. I'm not a CPA, I'm not the most proficient at it, but you want to hold a property at least a year so that after you sell it, you don't get hit so hard with capital gains. The other component is you won't be seen as a dealer in the investor or in the IRS.
You won't be seen as an investor.
You will be seen as an investor if you own the property over a year.
Yeah.
So that's important. So yeah, any tidbits of advice?
Don't work with bad agents, although it's really out of your control, I suppose. But if you are a realtor, be a good one. Be friendly. Get to the closing table. Work with the other person, because that's the whole goal. As far as the investing, I mean, I don't know.
Sub 2 is a great strategy when you don't have very much money and you're trying to get properties at good price points, because there's a lot of benefits with subject to. You need to be knowledgeable about that process. It's basically where you take over somebody else's loan on a property when you buy it. And then the other thing is you can get creative with your financing with the owner. Like in this case, we took over the financing that was in place, but then we wrote a second loan, a second note, where we had unique payment options. We paid $5,000 over 3 different months.
Yeah,
so
I think that would be a good advice, is the being creative, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't have any money, so I can't invest. Well, you don't need your own money to invest. You just need to know of people who have money and figure out how to get creative and how to put those, I don't know, those deals together. As long as it's a good win-win for both of y'all, or for all parties involved, then it's a good deal. So I think that's where we kind of excel at, is just the creative aspect of it. Like, do we need one lender? Do we need 2 lenders? Do we need 3? We've had properties where we've had 3 lenders on a property. So it just depends. It really just depends. So get creative, figure out ways. If you have questions about how to get creative, or if you have an idea that you want to present, Marco's always a really great person to reach out to, and he can give you his honest feedback, and whether that's a good deal or I wouldn't do that. I'm not saying he's, the smartest person out there. I mean, babe, you are the smartest person I know. But he will definitely lead you in the right direction, just based off of our experience and all of the knowledge we have. He's a good one to ask for help.
Definitely reach out. We're doing this content to help people watching, help you. So if you have questions, definitely reach out. Caesar, I see that you're jumping in, and a little quick tidbit I want to give to you and everyone else watching is a great way that you can find some properties is actually reaching out to investors that you know. There are investors who have that problem property in their portfolio that they're willing to sell at a discount to you, which is a great opportunity. Or you never know, some investors, what I have found is investors go through different phases in their life, and sometimes they go in a phase where they need to liquidate because they need money because of a divorce going on or a lawsuit situation, or they bought this really big investment over here that's not doing as well and they need to liquidate. I mean, we had somebody reach out to sell one of his houses because he wanted to get some money out. And in this situation, these investors had transitioned from one phase of their life to the next, where they didn't want to be as active dealing with tenants, finding tenants, rehab, any of that. They just wanted to cash out or kind of minimize their portfolio. And that's a situation that you can provide value and say, hey, I'm willing to do it. This is the price point I can do it at. And if it works for both parties, then great. You can create a situation. So reach out to the investors that you already know. They might have something in their portfolio that they'd be willing to sell to you, and it might surprise you.
Like we mentioned on our very first property, we were so tired of it after that foreclosure, so we sold it at a discount to another investor. So you just never know who out there is just ready to get rid of it. We are a perfect example of that. We just needed to get rid of it.
And it all starts with asking good questions and reaching out to people and see how.
And building relationships with people.
Yeah. All right, so really quick, what's going on this weekend?
Oh, okay. So this weekend, we are not going out of town. I mean, I guess kind of a little bit if you consider it, but we're not staying or driving far. But we are going to do a deep dive wholesale wine tasting in Fredericksburg at Becker Vineyard starting at 10:30 a.m. So for those of you who want to join,
time? Starting what time?
10:30 a.m.
Okay.
They open at 10, but we figured we'll get there a little early because it's going to be a really pretty day. There's supposed to be like just sun in the sky and no clouds. So it should be really, really pretty and warm, and it's kid friendly. So if you have kiddos you want to bring, don't let that be a deterrent for not coming. We just ask you let us know in advance. There's a Facebook group event, so feel free to say you are coming. Just let us know so we kind of can figure out how much space to reserve. So it should be a really fun time.
How far is Fredericksburg from San Antonio?
It's like an hour and a half, maybe.
Hour and a half, depending.
It depends on where you live too in San Antonio. Like I don't know where you live.
That's true.
You could be like really far. I don't know.
That's true. That's a good point. So this event is not necessarily like a very structured, strict event. This is just like Hillary and I are going to go wine tasting, and if you want to come join us, you're more than welcome. That's what this event is.
Basically. It's not just for real estate people. It's for real estate, like-minded people, those thinking about investing, those wanting to be an investor.
Liana, you were at the last event. Come to this one.
Just like anyone, any professional that wants to network and build their relationships with other professionals or other like-minded individuals. Right. You don't have to be in real estate. You don't have to be an investing or wholesaler.
And if you haven't ever been to the vineyards in Fredericksburg, it is definitely an experience. It's kind of like there's a strip of vineyards, and in your 20s you might go bar hopping. Well, maybe in your 30s plus, you go vineyard hopping and check out all the different vineyards. You can see all the grapes that are growing. Some vineyards have other items that grow, such as lavender, fruits, vegetables, things like that, which is unique. We're meeting at Becker
at 10:30.
Becker Vineyards. There's a bunch of vineyards over there. Little tidbits of advice. You're going to go over there. It's going to be great. There's going to be wine all over. You're going to want to drink a lot of wine. Bring a lot of water because it's going to be sunny. There'll be a lot of sun. We might be in the sun while you're drinking, so that's important. The other thing, too, is bring some finger food, some snacks.
You're allowed to bring food. So whenever we go, we always pack up a little like picnic basket, and we bring vegetables, dips, hummus, chips, cheese.
Fruit. You can bring cheese and deli meats or, prosciutto
things that are good with wine. But bring enough because everyone's probably going to share with everybody. It's going to just be like a very camaraderie, smorgasbord, charcuterie board. I don't know.
Save you on that one. That was fun.
It's just going to be like a fun time where we just sit around, chat, and get to know each other.
Relax event just to hang out. If we talk about real estate, wonderful. If we talk about life, hey, even better. So you're welcome. This will be this Saturday, 10:30 at the Becker Vineyard. Look for an event on Facebook. It's called Deep Dive Wholesale Wine Tasting by Hilco Homes. A lot of the Hilco Homes people will be there, so it'll be a great event.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Before we end the show, this is what we call Romero Roadmap.
And we will have another episode coming. I think it's episode 6.
Episode 6.
On Monday of next week at 11 a.m.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about, on this show, we're talking about all of our different deals, how we got the deals, some of the troubles. This one was an easy one, but some of the other ones are not so easy. We'll talk about
most of them are not easy.
Yeah, our struggles, our hassles, our mentality, what we learned, what we didn't learn, some of the lessons. You can ask questions. Last time we were talking a lot about entities and subject twos and all kinds of different scenarios. So this is our opportunity to kind of give you case studies of what we did and what we accomplished along the way. But additionally, just talk about like life in general and Hilco and how we've grown Hilco and Bella Buyers and our approach and what we're doing. We want to give real value and feedback to you and help you on your journey as well in the real estate realm to build your own passive income. So thank you for watching, and look out for more future content from Hilco Homes.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Peace.